What is astral space exploration? Cosmo-cybernetic art? Human is a complexly organized biometaphysical space technology. The brain of this living being has certain modes and filters of perception. Similarly to any other technology, a person has an instruction on the application which unfortunately was lost. The essence of this instruction is to use a certain set of methods, algorithms, modes, and actions in order to use this machine, being its operator, at full power, as long as the material body is alive. Understanding these methods and algorithms of technology management is the key principle of cosmo-cybernetics. Cybernetics is the science of the general laws of obtaining, storing, transforming, and transferring information to complex control systems, machines, living organisms, or society. Consequently, cosmo-cybernetics is a science about the general laws of obtaining, storing, transforming information in the complex control systems of infinite universes and not material dimensions of the cosmos. With the right methodology, you can set the frequency of reception of cosmic waves by a certain brain, for which it was created so that you can easily draw knowledge from the cosmic core and also interact with the cosmos as such directly. Using art as a spiritual astral practice of understanding the cosmos, I translate only what comes into contact with me, reflecting in my work such key brain capabilities as cross-universal and cross-galactic communications with all living beings through non-material dimensions of the cosmos here and now, and also the general ways of comprehending the cosmos through non-material dimensions, which are the essence of the astral space exploration. In 1977, Carl Sagan, in his book, The Dragons of Eden, Speculations on the Evolution of Human Intelligence, proposed a metaphor for the so-called cosmic calendar. According to this theory, the Big Bang falls at midnight on January 1st and current events occur at midnight on December 31st. At this scale, 1 second equals 438 years of real time, 1 hour is 1.58 million years, and a day is 37.8 million years. If we pay attention to the last table, then we'll see that Gautama Buddha was born only 5 seconds ago. Jesus Christ was born 3 seconds ago, and only 1 space second ago there was a period of Renaissance in Europe. During this cosmic second, there are modern space and technology breaks, the American Revolution, the Great French Revolution, the First World War, the Second World War, the first space flight of Yuri Gagarin, the landing on the moon, the integral approach of Ken Wilber, Apple, Google, Microsoft, Facebook, Tesla, SpaceX. Humanity plans to create the first colony on Mars to become a multi-planetary species, etc. In the foreseeable universe, there are more than 1 billion galaxies. If we only touch the Milky Way, then we are talking about more than hundreds of billions or even trillions of planets. On December 31st at 2352, in a distant past for people, a person born in a tribe was forced to exist in one culture, in one village, living and dying in one part of the earth without having any of the existence of other cultures and tribal traditions on neighboring continents on the surface of one planet. On December 31st at 23:59:59, on the space calendar, the situation has changed for better. For human beings, it became possible to dive into any known world culture and to learn it. All cultures became available to each other. Despite this freedom, we are still limited by the fact that we are born, we love, and we die on one planet, without any idea of the existence of other forms of life, cultures, and traditions in the Milky Way galaxy. Like people of antiquity, we are still these so-called Neanderthals who consider their knowledge of the universe to be complete and perfect on one cosmic scale. Thanks to the rapid contribution of SpaceX to the development of the space industry, in the foreseeable future human beings can become a multiplanetary species. Undoubtedly, this news can really inspire. Taking into account all of this, we should seriously consider whether we are ready to become a multiplanetary species without taking into account the stage of consciousness of the human race that can't be skipped or refused. As a species, we are at the very beginning of our development, and the fact that we have just reached the space scene and haven't learned how to behave correctly says at least about the absence of world-centric stage of conscious development in the human race as a whole. Undoubtedly, the trends toward its realization by certain human individuals begin to increase gradually over the last 5 space seconds, but unfortunately, in this exact space second, the human race as a whole hardly reaches the world-centric stage of external and internal development, firmly remaining in the lowland of egocentric and ethnocentric stage of deployment, not to mention the higher stages of development. The pre-planetary stage. 1. Pre-egoistic period. Instinctive existence. 2. The egocentric period. Self-consciousness of man separate from the element of the environment. Protection aimed at objects belonging to the range of personal attachments. Lack of empathy for objects outside the circle of attachments. Life is perceived exclusively in the forms of its own needs and interests, regardless of biosphere. 3. Ethnocentric period. Self-consciousness of a person is determined by belonging to the group, observance of its group rules, cultural values, traditions, spiritual systems of the group, approvals of the group leaders. Belonging and attachment to the group is demonstrated in the form of a radical patriotism. There's a military and cultural demonstration of superiority. There's a socially adapted behavior. There's a protection aimed at objects that are part of a group. Absence of empathy for objects outside of the group. The narrow-minded collective mind. Life is perceived only in the forms of the needs and interests of the group, compelled to coexist with other groups on the planet. 4. World-centric period. Self-consciousness of man is determined by a system of one planetary interdependence and interconnectedness. Integration of multiple disparate ethnocentric groups into one integrated multicultural system. World holistic order. Life is perceived exclusively in the forms of needs and interests of the planetary society. Planetary. Pre-galactic stage. Civilization of the first type by Nikolai Kardashev. 5. Multiplanetary period. Self-consciousness of man is identified by belonging to the planet, the solar system, and the rules of the world's holistic society. Cross-planetary cooperation. Life is perceived exclusively in the forms of the needs and interests of the human race. 6. Overplanetary period. Civilization of the second type by Nikolai Kardashev. Self-consciousness of mankind is identified by its belonging to the solar systems and to the rules of the world holistic society. Cross-solar system cooperation. Life is perceived as a form of competing needs and interests of races existing in the universe, the priority of which is harmonious coexistence with other forms of life with the preservation of unique values and cultural differences. The galactic stage. 7. The galactic period. Civilization of the third type by Nikolai Kardashev. Self-consciousness of human beings is identified by their belonging to the galaxy, the rules of the cross-galactic holistic interspecies society, cross-galactic interspecies multiculturalism, technological education, observation and study of primitive forms of life, diplomatic and trade agreements with more developed civilizations, active cooperation with peaceful, civilized forms of life, interspecies protectorate. The cosmic stage. Civilization of the fourth and fifth type by Carl Sagan and Michio Kaku. 8. The universal period. Self-awareness of developed forms of life goes beyond the limits of racial, cultural, and historical differences and self-identification. Self-consciousness of the developed forms of life is completely identified with the universe, cosmic consciousness. The universe is perceived as an endless manifestation of harlocic forms of life. possessing only one true nature and one true essence, merging into one whole in the vast divine cosmic void. No doubt, this model of conscious development doesn't pretend to be taken for granted. Therefore, it is treated as a step for further reflection which can help to form a proper development strategy. The vision of the above-mentioned stages of consciousness was discovered in the trace state during the creation of the painting, The Embrace of Eternity. Let the creativity presented to you manifest its true nature, embodying all power and grandeur of cosmic consciousness, with one single and simple goal: to involve divine mechanisms in living beings. We must understand that in future evolution on the expanses of the cosmic scene, humanity will somehow need to gradually overcome the boundaries of same stages and move to others. Without the evolution of consciousness, we cannot even talk about the civilizations of 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 types, according to Nikolai Kardashev, Carl Sagan, and Michio Kaku. With an incorrect strategy of actions and stops at certain stages of consciousness, especially in the pre-planetary stages, our existence is doomed to fragmentation and ego/ethnocentric chaos. In order to enter the space age wisely enough, mankind needs to grow up seriously, refusing ethnocentric games from the category who will be the first to put his flag on the moon, the US or the Soviet Union. If this is not done, then the same games will continue to pursue us, because the stage and the level of consciousness of humanity will not change from the change of the planet. Without a holistic consciousness, the human race will never be a strong player on the space scene. In order to reach the world-centric stage, a serious all-around revolution of human consciousness is needed, and it can be achieved by integral education, integral art, holistic, interreligious and interpolitical dialogue, and an immoral approach to business and economics. Having changed the perception vector from everything for me and everything for us, nation and country, to everything for us, humanity, we will be able to overcome the terrible barriers that separate our true unity as the United Human Federation. If human beings succeed in surpassing the illusion of isolation, we will be able to open the doors to higher stages of consciousness, in which it appears as the coveted and sought cosmic reactor, with the help of which we can communicate directly with the universe, opening the embrace of eternity.